This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, 2 minutes up.
You ready, Marie, for this?
I am. I got 1 minute of.
Oh, I got 1 minute, sorry. If you're here for the board meeting, please sign in at the front.
Looks like we got quite a few on line. Do we have quite a few in the pack? Oh, looks like a good turnout. Yay.
Okay, I have 1,300. Marie, you ready? I have 1,300.
Oh, well, your computer is faster than mine. All right, go ahead and slam the gavel.
We're in.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll have everybody stand that they can for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. I don't hear anybody. I just hear myself.
Do you hear us, Marie?
No, I don't.
Well, you heard me, right?
No.
Okay, we can do this all day. Who's on first?
Okay. All right. Are we good?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Can I have the roll call then? I can't hear Darlene at all.
I didn't have the mic, sorry.
Oh,
Roll
okay.
call of the board. Marie Beshin,
Here.
Roberta Ernest,
Here.
Marilyn Sorensen,
Here.
Becca Paulson,
Here.
Steve Deal,
He can't be heard, so I'm I'm his proxy. Not here.
Jennifer Ellswick, Cindy Evans.
Here.
Thank you. Homeowner
Okay.
statement period. In-person speaker may speak for no more than 2 minutes. If attending virtually, please mute your audio. Please use the chat option for your questions. Comments should be addressed to concerns of the motion before the board takes formal action on an item under formal discussion on the table. Negative comments directed at residents, employees of the association, or board of directors will not be allowed.
Thank you. May I have an approval of the following meeting minutes for August 8th?
Yeah, I move to approve the minutes from August 8th of 2024.
Have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Or is there
Aye.
any, I'm sorry, was there any corrections or additions first? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion carried. All right. Financial report. Dawn, is there a financial report?
Marie, I probably should make the motion first.
Okay.
I move to accept the July 31, 2024 financials.
Second.
Is there any changes or additions, comments? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion carried. All right. Dawn, do you have anything, any financial updates?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
As of July 31st, the cash balance in the operating account was 914,178. In the reserve, 4,313,974. Activities, $125,010. Clubs, $155,775. Asset improvement, $1,222,871.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Committee reports. We don't have anything until landscape. Do I have someone here from landscape that wants to approve, approach the thing to approve Susie Stretch?
I move to approve the Landscape Aid Committee's request to appoint Susie Strack as a member to the Landscape Committee.
Second.
Any comments or input on Susie? Okay. All those in favor of Susie?
Aye.
Okay. Motion carried. Okay. Activities. Old
Welcome,
business.
Susie.
Yeah. Is Susie here?
No.
No. Okay. All right. New business. Do I have a motion for the approval of the activities budget?
I move to approve the activities 2024-2025 annual budget.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any comments or thoughts on that? Anything from the residents? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope. All right. Motion carried.
Marilyn, this is Darlene. Marie, I'm assuming that you're speaking on Steve's behalf. I'm assuming he's approving these unless you say otherwise.
Correct. Thank you. Is someone talking? Okay. Second is the approval of the anti-harassment policy. Do I have a motion for that?
I move to approve the anti-harassment policy.
Second.
Okay. Marilyn, I'm going to ask you to read that, please.
I have it. All right. This is our new policy regarding harassment. It says, whereas the Board of Directors of Happy Trails Resort Community Association has the power to adopt rules as well as powers reasonably necessary to exercise its rights and privileges under the Second Amended and Restated Declaration of Covenants, Conditions, Restrictions, Section 3.9, Association Rules. Whereas the board wishes to ensure the Happy Trails RV Resort is maintained as an environment free of harassment, and that all members and residents of the association maintain a high standard of ethical conduct while residing within the Happy Trails Resort. Whereas capitalized items not otherwise defined herein have definition provided for in the Second Amended and Restated Declaration of Covenants, Conditions, and Restrictions. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Association hereby adopts the following anti-harassment policy, standards, and behavior, ethical rules, and enforcement procedures that are applicable to all members and residents of the association. It is the policy of the association to create, maintain an environment free from all forms of harassment toward members, residents, employees, board members, management, and contractors. The association will not tolerate hostility or favoritism toward an individual based on race, color, creed, sex, national origin, or age, including sexual harassment. Furthermore, actions, words, bullying, or comments based on an individual's sex, race, color, national origin, religion, disability, or legally protected characteristic will not be tolerated. The association will not condone such behavior by or from any member, resident, guest, or visitor. collectively, persons. All persons shall refrain from harassing other persons, directors of the Board of Association, committee members, employees, or management staff. Persons shall not in any way harass, threaten, or otherwise attempt to intimidate any other persons, directors of the board, committee members, employees, or management staff. All persons shall refrain from any inappropriate or unwanted touching of other persons, directors of the board, committee members, employees, or management. The association shall deem any persons who harass, threatens, or touches inappropriately or without consent other persons, directors of the board, association, committee members, employees, or management staff to be in violation of this resolution. All persons must conduct themselves in a civil and courteous manner at all times, must not jeopardize or interfere with the rights and privileges of others. Conduct is considered uncivil or uncourteous if a person is visibly intoxicated or engages in rudeness, personal attacks, insults, name-calling, or uses derogatory language towards another, or engages in aggressive behavior towards another, or engages in behavior that tends to cause embarrassment or discomfort to others. Loud, profane, indecent, or abusive language is prohibited. All members shall be responsible for the conduct of their residents, family members, guests, and visitors while at Happy Trails Resort. Members shall be responsible for ensuring that their resident family members, guests, and visitors comply with this policy in all documents governing the association. Persons shall report any inappropriate and discourteous conduct or conduct believed to be in violation of this policy to the Happy Trails General Manager. Depending on the severity of the accusations, the General Manager will conduct an investigation and report to the Board of Directors the result of the investigation. Any member or resident who is found to be in violation of this policy will be subject to appropriate remedial action. Such remedial action shall include all remedies available at law or in equity and may include, but not be limited to, injunctive relief being sought against him or her, fines requiring all further communications from the member or the resident to be in writing, and suspension of membership privileges. Such remedial action shall be at the sole discretion of the Happy Trails Board of Directors. The cost of enforcing this policy, whether or not suit is filed, including but not limited to reasonable attorney fees, court costs, out-of-pocket expenses, cost of the investigation, and other expenses related to the enforcement, constitute a lien on the lot owner by the member against who action is taken, and shall also be the personal obligation of the member. Thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn. I will also be discussing this in further detail on my president's announcement. Is there any other further comments or questions from the board? Are there any questions or comments from the residents? Is there anything in chat? Okay, yes.
I'm Maynard Bethune, 1621. I'm a proud Vietnam veteran. And my question is, first of the board, what is this?
It's a flag. It's the United States flag.
What is this? What is this? You don't know what that is?
It's hard for me to see it, Maynard, except that it's.
Where are you?
I'm in Washington. It's the United States flag hanging upside down.
Okay.
That's a pennant.
Banner or banner? Banner. Okay. Now, according to what I was told yesterday, is that this is a flag. This is an American flag.
Yes,
You
sir.
put it, you put it down like this, it's no longer a flag.
Okay, Maynard, we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about
We're
the
talking about-
anti-harassment policy, which is the
And this is-
subject for
And this
discussion.
is one of the policies that we do not have here.
We are talking about the
We're-
anti-harassment one, and that's the one
what
that's
I'm
for
talking
question.
about. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Because if this is a flag and this is not a flag, it's a banner. In other words, when you have a flag holder in your house, and when they ask you to fly it at half mast, this is half mast.
Okay.
But according to the definition that I received yesterday, that when the flag is in this position, it's a banner.
Okay, so I'm going to say it one more time. I will discuss that with you afterwards, but that's not the anti-harassment policy,
Oh,
which
it's
is
not.
what
Oh,
the item that we're discussing now.
it harasses me. I'm trying to figure out.
It's not the anti-harassment policy. It's not, because we're talking about the anti-harassment policy. Maynard, we'll get to your question later. No, sir, we're talking about the anti-harassment policy.
And that's what I'm talking.
That's not what we're discussing. That's a flag policy and a banner policy.
Are there anybody in?
Go
is
ahead,
there-
Marie.
Yes. Does anyone have any questions about the anti-harassment policy that was just stated?
We have another one.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, she just can't see everybody.
Jan Shodin, Lot 147. I was at a previous board meeting. Thank you very much for taking this under advisement and doing just what you did.
Thank you. Anyone else? No. Anything in the chat? No. All right. Then I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Any against? Motion carried. Thank you. All right. Moving right along. Approval for moving forward with the bulk trash services. Steve is going to handle this, and let me, I don't have the motion in front of me. Roberta, would you handle this, please?
Okay, there was no motion, so it looks like they were just doing a general talking. I can do a little bit of it.
He's in favor of continuing the trash bulk services as they have been.
Correct. Okay, so that is basically his motion, Marie, is that he would like to, okay, so I motion that we continue the trash collection dumpsters process that we've been doing for the last 6 months for another 6 months?
Yes.
Or do you want a time on it?
Let's do it for 6 months.
Okay, 6 months longer, to extend it for another 6 months.
Second.
All right, discussion. Yes, Becca.
I just want to draw attention to the fact that as of the first 6 months, we did have a savings. We anticipate the annual savings to be about $20,000, and that includes paying for the individual that works there. It can go up or down depending on how many dumpsters we have. There is a report. Possibly we can, I don't know if we want to publish that report on the network or something so people can read it, but it did show promise for saving money. So I think that's why we've decided to move it forward for another 6 months. Until
Agreed. I think being able to limit what went into the dumpsters. We had somebody or a couple people there monitoring what went in the dumpsters. They limited the hours, and we were able to decrease the amount of bulkage, which then decreased the cost, as I understand it, and not having to have them dumped as often. So there is definitely a savings at this point.
Yes, and the residents seem to have adjusted to the new style. So, okay. Any further discussion? Any discussion? Oh, intend to summarize the report in the first coyote. Oh, that's nice. Okay.
Just one more thing. I think Mike
Yes.
was checking into looking at some curbside pickup. So we need to follow up on that out
Yes,
of,
yes, we are. We're continuing to look into it. We're waiting to hear back
okay,
from
because
the,
I know Arizona Traditions does a curbside pickup, I think, once a month. So if we could get into that, that would be great as well. Stand by.
Okay. Any further discussion from the board? Any discussion or comments from the residents? Okay.
We have one more.
Yes.
I've worked out there and it's hot, and what they have for shade is not working. The shade, the umbrella, you have it tipped in the morning towards the sun, and the shade is on the other side of the facility from where you're sitting. So we need to do something about that. Also, when I was out there, they have a cooler, but it's got to have ice and water in it. And they brought out ice and water, but they brought the ice in a 5-gallon bucket. And I said, well, why don't you bring it out in a cooler? That way you don't have to bring ice out anymore, just once a day. So we would have it there when it melts to put more ice in so we can stay cooler. And also, we need to have something on paper that we know for sure what we're not to take. Sometimes they say you can take appliances, and other people say you can't. And also on refrigerators, I had a guy come in when I was there, and he had a refrigerator. And I said, well, we can't take anything with refrigerant in it. He says, well, they told me I could drop it out there. He didn't say who they were. He just says, they just told me I could take it out here. And I says, no, you can't. I said, if you have a question, you have to go to the office and ask them. So it's that kind of thing that we need to get done. And also, when we gave you our recommendation from the board or whatever committee, we recommend that we put signs up on the fence to tell people what we take, what we don't take. Now, I'm not talking about a sign this size. I'm talking a big enough sign where people my age can read it from their scooter or their golf cart. And we have an issue with that, putting up signs here. So that's all I got to say.
Okay, thanks, Maynard. We'll take that all. And I know that we had some paperwork or some information out there with regard to what we would take. And I know that was blasted out, but we can reblast that.
right, and we do have signage out there on the front of the gate stating some of the appliances that we do not take. I mean, we can definitely
But
work
it's not a
on,
big enough sign. Man.
we can work on getting it bigger, but we
Right,
absolutely have
right.
signage out right now.
And
Okay.
another thing, you have a list, somebody's got a list of volunteers. And when Steve retired, nobody called anybody on the list. So the gate was open. So any Tom, Dick, and Harry could go in there. And people, if you don't have somebody there, and I found it when I was working there, that if you didn't tell them to break the boxes down, they have a habit of not breaking stuff down.
Okay.
And another thing I wanted to bring up too was on the maintenance people when they come in.
Okay, can you and I talk about that afterwards? Because your time is up at this point. We need to move on. But I'm willing to hear you after the meeting, Maynard.
And I will, as far as the shelter, now that we have decided to move forward and for another 6 months, so we're looking at a longer term. The board at the time wanted to wait and see what we were going to do. So we will be looking at, we've talked about putting up some type of a closed-in shelter, like a little hut, you may say, or something. The pop-up did not quite work. So So we have talked about that, Maynard, and we will be hiring someone to handle those days. No, we were waiting to see what the board was going to do at this meeting.
Okay. Any other comments?
Yeah.
Questions?
I don't know if you can speak.
Okay. Anything from the chat?
I think Steve's on now.
I think he was going to listen.
Can you? I don't know if I have sound.
We can hear
Yes.
you, Steve.
Try it, Steve.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, you came in just in
Hello.
just
2, 3.
we just passed the trash policy. So we're just
We
a
haven't
question.
voted on it. We
I
haven't
know.
voted on it.
We haven't voted. We're in the comments. So anything in the chat?
It's from Bill from the Finance Committee. He says, I intend to summarize the report in the first coyote.
Okay. All right. All right, then I'll go ahead and ask for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay. Where are we? We are updating on regarding the exit gate automation. That would be Brad or Darlene or
It's just an update. There wasn't a motion on the table.
right?
At the moment, we are still waiting on the new trans screen, the TransCore screen that has been damaged. So we're waiting on that. At the moment, the Walgreens loop is on, or the gate is on a loop, meaning anyone can exit. So that's kind of where we're at right now. And, you know,
Okay.
They just have to remember to pull very close to the gate in order to activate it.
correct. Right, pretty much right on top of it. You got to get really close to it and it will open. And again, it's on a loop. So until we can get that TransCore screen in, we can, you know, get that loop fixed. But in the meantime, it is where everyone can exit without a
Okay.
transponder.
Okay. All right. Next on the agenda is the approval for $10,000, up to $10,000 for Happy Trails 40th anniversary celebration. Do I have a motion for that?
I move to approve $10,000 for Happy Trails 40th anniversary celebration. Funds to come from activities accounts from past year's profits.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, discussion? It's my understanding that it's up to 10, not a flat 10, correct?
That's the way it should be. Yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead. And then
Okay.
Darlene, did you want to talk about what were some ideas?
Well, I don't want to give away all the ideas, but it's for our 40th anniversary for Happy Trails is the month of March. So during that month of March, we will be having different activities throughout the month. Some of the activities will be happy hour. Some of it will be, we'll start off with our parade that we have every year, and then we'll end with a dance. But in between, during the month, we'll have different activities. Again, it's up to 10,000. I always was told to shoot for the moon and see what you get.
Okay. Any discussion from the board?
The parade is on the 4th. Yes.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the residents?
Karen Cox, Lot 373.
Yes, ma'am.
I was activities director for the 20th anniversary, and I wasn't given $10,000. I wasn't given anything. And the whole budget was run completely different than it is now. I had to spend my nickel to go find the special band that was going to come to play. Went up to Colorado, auditioned them.
Wow.
But I would like to know what on earth from what you sort of listed is going to cost $10,000. Where'd that figure come from? Just throw it at the wall?
Like I said, I shot for the moon to see what I can get. Thelma, do you want to come up and talk a little bit about the anniversary?
And maybe you can work with Darlene and give her some ideas since you did it at the 20th. Maybe you've got some great ideas to to,
Yeah,
to, to,
just a
to get,
reminder, it's not Darlene doing it, Marie. It's
well, no, no,
committee and activities.
yeah.
We do have a
Just
committee
for-
that's
just for
going to
someone's
be,
ear.
I guess, we'll have a committee that's going to be doing different things each week during the month. As you all know, things have gone up. Things that cost hardly nothing 10 years ago or 15 years ago, that's just not the case now. So in order to get, entertainment, things like that that we need, we don't want anybody to pay for anything that we do. So that's the reason that we are asking for some funds. And we're not planning on spending 10,000. However, at least it gives us some kind of money that, we can at least say, hey, well, if this is going to cost $2,000, then at least we know where we have it from. Okay. Does that answer it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the big, I'm sorry.
The whole idea is for everyone to enjoy the anniversary without having to pay out of their own
That was the key.
pockets.
And the money, it was asked, where's the money coming from? It's coming from the activities budget. Oh, Becca, we can't hear you. You're on mute.
I'm sorry, I missed the question. My husband was talking to
Oh,
me.
no, I thought you were talking to us and we
Oh,
didn't.
no, sorry. No, I wasn't. I was
Okay,
a
okay,
different conversation. I'm having network problems. That's why he was
oh,
talking to me.
okay. All right. Anything else?
We have a couple chats we're going to look at.
Outdoor movies like we had before. Oh,
What's fun is the
you want to see outdoor movies? I don't, with,
response to the chat RHT. It's going to come out of the activities budget from
yes,
prior year profits.
yes. Okay. Anything else? All right. Looks like we've got those covered. Then I'll take a vote. All those in favor of,
Virginia, we're on a roll call vote. It's
yes,
10,000.
yes, I
Roll
do.
call vote.
Yes,
Okay. Roberta Ernest,
Yes.
Marilyn Sorensen,
Yes.
Becca Paulson,
Yes.
Steve Deal,
Yes.
Jennifer Ellswick,
Yes.
Cindy Evans,
Yes.
and Marie Beschen.
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is the approval for the LED bistro lights and solar post cap lights at the gazebo. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the Landscape Committee's proposal to install LED bistro lights and solar post cap lights on the gazebo at a cost of $1,400. Funds to come from the asset improvement account.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. We have pictures and diagrams and stuff. Any comments or questions from the board? Okay, hearing none. Is there
I have
any?
a question.
Yes, Becca. Yes, Becca.
I'm not opposed to this, but do we have an overall plan yet as far as what they want to do?
On the gazebo?
I'm a little concerned on all of it, on the landscaping for this money that they received. Without some semblance of a plan, I have a problem doing little bits and pieces here and there. I'm not saying this is a bad thing. I'm just saying I would like to see an overall plan for that funding.
You want to answer that, Jennifer?
Is there anybody from the landscape committee that would like to come up and talk to this?
I'm online, if I could say something. This is Vicki, I'm the chairman.
Yes, please do.
We have just started. We've only have like 2 or 3 meetings. We're trying to get an overall view, but it takes a lot of money to get a landscape architect out to do a whole overview of the whole resort, okay? If you guys want to approve like $30,000 for us to have a professional landscape architect come in, I would be happy to go and scout one out. Right now, we're just trying to do little improvements so that in October, when people come back, they will go, oh man, that looks really nice, or the gazebo will be lit up and it'll be an improvement. That's kind of where we're at now. We just want to do the entrance to make that look nice. Then we'll move to the guard shack area, then the area where the wagon is, and then we'll move along down Happy Trails Boulevard. We have some ideas for that, but we haven't had a lot of time to put together bids and ideas. And so that's kind of where we're at. We're trying, we're all very impatient and want things done. And that's all I can say. If you have any other questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Um,
Thank you
Marie?
for that. I appreciate it.
Welcome.
There is a description as to what they're going to do, and they did talk to Mike Nice about this. The LED bistro lights with a timer will be attached to the 4 lower outside beams and the 3 interior gazebo beams. The timer will turn them on and off at designated times, and Mike has the source for the materials needed. The solar post cap lights will be attached to the existing posts on both sides of the gazebo entrance. They are made of black, waterproof aluminum and textured glass. They turn on at night for 8 hours of warm white light. Um, this cost includes a base for each light and base trim for each post. So that's where they're going to be. Becca, if that was your question, there is a plan for where they're going to be.
My question was more of an overall question, which Vicky answered to my satisfaction. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Becca.
Any further questions from the board? Any questions or comments from the residents?
No.
You want to look at the chat? There was a few from the chat that popped up.
Sure. Do you want me to read it to you?
Yeah.
It says, if you put in solar lights, I would like to see lights that can change color to highlight different holidays. She also continued on to referring to the light on the gazebo is what she was talking about.
Okay. Problem with solar light. Well, I guess we can. All right.
And then RHT said last season, he's talking about safety and security lighting around the ballroom to the parking lot. Unfortunately, sir or ma'am, that is not on the agenda at that time to be discussed.
Okay. Okay. All those in favor of the bistro lights for the gazebo? Oh, it's a money. You want to?
Roll call.
Yeah.
Roll call. Roberta Ernest,
Yes.
Marilyn Sorensen,
Yes.
Becca Paulson. Raise your hand or something.
Yes.
Steve Deal,
Yes.
Jennifer Ellswick,
Yes.
Cindy Evans,
Yes.
and Marie Beshin.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay. Next up is the approval proposal to refurbish the art in the courtyard.
I move to approve the proposal from the Landscape Committee to refurbish 2 rusty copper artworks by the pond in the courtyard in the amount of $200. The funds are to come from an anonymous donor, no cost to the association.
Second.
I wish I knew which. I apologize because I can't even visualize what that artwork is, but it's nice that somebody recognized it and is donating the funds. I have no idea what that artwork is, actually. I guess I should.
Just some yard art that's in the middle of the town center
I
area
know.
by the waterfalls, by the water feature.
Shame on me. I'm going to have to look as soon as I get home. Any other comments or questions from the board?
Marie, this is Bev Youngren at 2371.
Yeah.
They're kind of like whirly things. There's a post with it's just a constant movement with the wind. And when I came back from vacation, I found one of them sitting on the ground. So they're going to be taken to be powder coated in a copper color, and they're going to look really, really nice. And we had a wonderful resident who has donated the money to get that repaired.
Yay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, that was donated probably 5 or 6 years ago, I think, from funding.
That microphone
She said
seems.
it was donated from Fun and Games, so it's never been a cost to the community. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments? All right. All those in favor? Oops. There's no money involved, so. Motion carried. All right. Thank you. All right. Next, approval, proposal for painting the common area walls.
I move to approve the proposal from the Landscape Committee for Marcel Painting to paint the Roy Rogers and Happy Trails Boulevard common area walls in the amount of $30,910, funds to come from the Asset Improvement account.
Second.
Do I, anybody want to come up and talk about that?
Are you going to have Bev brief it first? Is that the idea? Otherwise, questions from the board.
I suggest Beverly come up and either
Brief
way,
it.
brief it.
Okay, Bev, come on up and brief.
Okay, I'm Bev Youngren again at 2371. Through our committee, we had 3 bids to do Happy Trail on the interior, Happy Trail walls, not the residential side, just what you see when you come in, and also on Roy Rogers. And on those 2 sections of the 3 bids, Marcel had the one that we recommended. He's the gentleman that came out to discuss and answer all the questions at the BRC meeting.
Don't put your hand down. Don't put your hand down here. Up top.
Okay. Testing. Okay. This gentleman that I worked with is the one that did the presentation, Q&A for BGM and DRC. Probably. So what we did is, oh dear. Okay. Okay, what we did is we went and picked out some colors that we felt would be appropriate for that wall, meeting with the paint company. I forget the company's name. The colors are stock colors, and so we chose from those rather than some that are mixed, and these are colors that have been used at other HOA walls. So we picked 3 and we put them up on the wall, and we got a myriad of opinions as to which color we felt would be most appropriate for Happy Trails. And that's the color that is in the bid. And so DRC has approved the spraying, and I just would like to encourage you to vote for this. I personally feel that this sets the landscaping, everything that we can do, this just sets everything off really nice instead of ugly 30-year-old gray concrete walls. When we did the exterior wall, just so you know, there were many people who did not feel that was justified, and they spoke. But when the wall was done, I cannot tell you how many people came up to me and said, I'm sorry, Bev, that I even spoke against it. It really looks nice, and it sets Happy Trails off quite nicely. And I think the same thing will happen here for Happy Trail Boulevard and Roy Rogers. Do any of you have any questions about this? Pardon?
Yes,
Do you want me to stay here?
yes. Bev, stay there. Um, Bev, can you hear me? All right.
Yes, I can.
Okay. First of all, I want to know, did you guys even consider any other options like staining, which lasts 3 times to 5 times longer than paint, or
Okay,
or
I
other
can give
options?
you I can give you the history on this, Marie. When I spent months and months and months on the exterior wall, just as the opposite side, there were no other options that were economically feasible. Staining, plastering, adding decorative on the top, there's nothing. The cheapest, if you want to use that word, or the most inexpensive way for us to address the wall is just to paint it. Nothing else in my research, and I've worked on this now for several years, there's nothing that would work as well as just simply painting it with the Spectra. I don't have the paperwork in front of me, but it's a special paint that's much more expensive than regular acrylic, and it's UV rated. It's all in your paperwork for you as board members to read. It's very clear on the bid for Marcel as to what he's using. So I hope that answers your question, because we
I,
did try. It doesn't work.
I
It's
can't.
not in the best interest of Happy Trails.
I just, to me, even just doing the fascia bricks, on the veneer trim on the accent panels, to me seems permanent. And yet we're not, painting, you have to do it every 5 to 7 years. So this year it's 30,000. In 5 years, it's going to be 40,000. In 10 years, it's going to be 50,000. To me, that is exorbitant, Bev, in all honesty. I mean, look at the outside wall. It's already peeling. And as a fiduciary responsibility on our part, to me, that's exorbitant. I'm sorry. Staining lasts 10 to 15 years. I don't know how you can say that this is the cheaper way to go. It doesn't make sense to me.
I'm simply reporting to you my research. And when we did the outside wall, I quite honestly don't know, because I couldn't find the paperwork, if they used the paint that is being recommended for the interior walls. Any resort, even your home, you're not going to leave it for 30 years and not do a damn thing. And that's exactly what's happened on the interior walls. So painting it, I mean, people wanted to make it look like the 303 and add designs. Well, you can't do any of that. You can't add murals. You can't add geometric designs. It's just easier to just go one color. It's not for me to tell you how long the paint would last. But as far as I'm concerned, as long as I'm here at Happy Trails, it's probably going to just be that one coat. That's all I can say about that.
Well, even Marcel said it would last 5 years when we
I
asked
know,
him.
I know that's what he has to say, but being in the construction business, I think we're going to have a little bit more, but that's not for me to say.
Marie, Steve has a question.
Yes.
Well, one of my questions is that I just heard Vicky talk about a landscape architect, and it would seem to me that that $30,000 would be that would be a much better expenditure, so that the plan could be put together that included all of the plannings, all of the changes that everyone wants to have made, rather than do the shotgun approach. I do not disagree with Marie's comment. In my 30 years of school administration and responsibility for facilities, I can guarantee you that if you paint it, you will continue to paint it. You will own it forever. And that expenditure will not go away. And it will actually look worse after a 10-year period with no paint than it looks right now. So I would prefer that we spent that 30 grand on the architect and get this plan put together, incorporating the one that we paid for several years ago, and then go forward with all of those things that that landscape architect suggests and that the committee approves. I think that we're putting the cart in front of the horse.
Okay, I understand what you're saying, Steve, but we've been given direction that our committee is supposed to get going on these things now. If you do a landscape architect, I have no problem with that. $30,000 seems like a lot of money, but it's going to still go back to, in order to complete the picture, you have to paint those walls. You have to do something with it. And all I can do is present to you my years of research and all the options that the painters have told me. And I'm presenting to you what I feel is
Maynard.
I'm presenting to you what I feel is the most economical for Happy Trails and gets us on the right start. It's kind of like icing a cake. You can give them a bare cake, but if you put the icing on it, it's a lot prettier. That's the same thing with the wall. The walls are ugly. They're 30 years old. They've got a lot of effervescence, as they call it, on the bottom. That's been there for many, many years. That's all going to be treated. It's all in your bid that they will be treating all of that and then painting it with the 2 coats. You have to update this resort. And in order to do that, in my opinion, as part of the committee members, this is one of the #1 items.
Okay, thanks, Bev. Marie, go ahead.
Any other comments or questions from the board?
I'm still
I have to
concerned. I'm
say,
sorry,
I
Steve.
have to say, I agree with Steve that using that money to get a plan together would be a better spend at this point, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a concern that if we paint, we are making it mandatory that future boards and the association as it grows is going to continue to have to paint. And I'm not sure that's a wise thing right now with our money, as tight as it is.
Everything I've read from the chat has been negative. Every comment from the chat has been negative.
Okay, you have an individual, owner here that Maynard would like to ask a question.
Okay.
Yes, my question.
Hold it at the top like this. There you go.
My question.
Oh, it must be a bad mic. Let's just swap.
I can hear you, Maynard.
My question is, we talk about beautifying the park, and you walk across the town center concrete, and it's full of cracks. Now we're putting a lot of money into the restaurant, apparently. Shouldn't we beautify the outside before we work on the inside? That money could be used to redo the cracks in the town center here, and we got a ton of them.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Maynard.
Thank you. Okay, Darlene, shall we do a roll call vote, please?
Okay, roll call vote. Roberta Ernest? No. Marilyn Sorensen? Becca Paulson?
No,
Steve Deal?
No.
Jennifer Ellswick?
Yes.
Cindy Evans?
no.
And Marie Beshen?
No.
Motion did not pass. Thank you.
Okay. The proposal for the Horseshoe Club to install pavers in the, horseshoe courts. Can I have a motion for that one, please?
I move to approve the proposal from the Horseshoe Club to install pavers at the Horseshoe Courts in the amount of $11,500. The club will pay $3,000 towards the cost. Funds will come from operating expense.
Second.
Okay. All right. There are actually 3 options here, from what I understand. We can go with half a court at 6,500, which is in between the individual things. We can go 3/4 of the court, which is in between, plus the on either side, around the outside, or we can go the full court, which is what you suggested was the 11,500. Mike and I walked the horseshoe court, and I don't know if any of you else have, and we talked about the different options and stuff. And I the 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 half court at in between at 6,500 this year I think would work well, doing so that they can actually step on the pavers, toss their horseshoes, and have pavers to step on while they toss it. That would be $3,500 for us and $3,000 for them. The next year, with our new budget, then maybe they could complete the rest of it with our help and their help or whatever, and we could actually have the time to put it in the budget. Would be my personal suggestion. What say you?
Yeah,
What are,
Marie, and that's where I was going to go with this, is that we have the new club guideline, club rules, and it states in there to put in your proposal before at the time, November 15th, to get into the next year's budget. Nothing against the Horseshoe Club, because I know they've been due diligence trying to raise money. This is coming in on this year's budget, which has not been budgeted for. I'm in favor of doing the half court also. That's 3,500 out of our pocket, 3,000 out of theirs. And then they bundle the rest of that and put that into the motion to go into the budget for next year's, so that we start getting the clubs into the process of getting in line with the budget, so we can truly budget for the stuff that the clubs want coming up. So that's where I stand on this.
I would tend to agree that we need to get the clubs getting their requests in for updates or improvements as early as possible. And we also need to get them attuned to raising some money themselves for the things that they want. And I know that Activities and Thelma have been working very hard and very closely with the clubs to get the new information to them with the new dates. The only addition to what Roberta said that I would like to say is that with our calendar year, with our fiscal year changing, the date will probably be January 15th rather than November 15th, because 2025, we're going to a new fiscal year beginning July 1st. So all the clubs will be made aware of that which they want, that which they need, that which they think they need and want must be to us by January 15th to be put into the budget. Thank you.
Becca, you had a comment? Go ahead.
Because the overall cost of the paving the courts is 11,500, it actually should be in reserve, not operating.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I
I'm not sure
want
it's a
to
reserve
amend
item.
the,
Wait, Becca. We're not sure it's a reserve item. Stand by.
and it should be added as a reserve item.
It,
It's not
so
now.
it's not currently. You're correct. So when we do it, then it should go into the reserve. Okay, I'm just making sure I
That's what I'm
understood.
saying.
I'm sorry.
Yes. It is actually, will be a reserve item. It needs to be included in reserve. Even if we spend out of operating this year, it needs to become a reserve item. So I guess this year we have an option either way. I just
Cindy.
want to make sure it doesn't get lost in the process.
Okay. Cindy, you had a comment?
To refresh my memory, weren't there stipulations on if a club asked for money, how long it would be before they could ask again?
You're asking if there was, it's hard to hear you, so I think I'm refreshing. You're asking, was there stipulations when a club came and asked for money as to how much they could get based on what they were asking? Is that correct? And how much they were putting in?
No, it's
No.
Stand by.
subsequent years.
Stand by.
She's asking if there is a time limit. If they're asking for a certain amount of money today, is there a time limit when they can ask for additional monies for that project? Correct?
Yes.
Correct.
I know there's a maximum, and I think it's $10,000.
Well, and the other concern I have.
As far as
If you
time frame,
start
I'm
from
not
the-
sure we,
My other concern is if we use all the money they have now for this, then they don't have anything in the future going forward without additional fundraising. So do we do half of it with their money, or what do we do?
Debbie is online and she said that they actually have $4,000. Debbie, can I ask you, I know that you are doing another murder mystery dinner and obviously, will, do you think you will have additional funds in the following year to augment more pavers for next season? Do you anticipate your budget to improve for more pavers for next season? You can come on voice if you want to unmute yourself.
I'm not seeing a time limit, Becca. And if there was, we could make an exception based on the situation at hand and getting the clubs in alignment with the club guidelines.
Hi,
Sorry,
Debbie.
Cindy.
I'm pretty sure, I know there's a time limit. I know there was a maximum. I was trying to find them real quick. I'm
Brad,
not coming up with them right at the
it
moment.
says she's unmuted. Is she okay to?
Not working.
I see her unmuted, but we can't hear
Deb,
her.
we can't hear you. We think it might be your mic. Are you unmuted?
Don't feel bad.
She said yes.
Her answer was yes.
Okay. All right.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Can't we simplify this and say we'll approve the entire project, the first half beginning this year with a match of a minimum of $3,500 and the second half to be paid and budgeted for in the next budget cycle? So they don't have to go through the process again. It's all done. We're all wrapped up and ready to rock and roll as soon as the next fiscal year begins.
Sounds like a good amendment to me. Do I have a second on his amendment?
Yes, I think that we can do
Second.
that.
Okay. All right. All those in favor?
Okay, wait a minute, but Darlene needs it restated. So if I understand you, Steve, you want to, let me get back to my motion here.
Amend it?
Yeah, he wants to state, we approve the entire amount for $11,500 with the club paying a minimum of $3,000 towards the cost with only
3,500.
$3,500 being spent. That would
3,500 now.
be the first option being spent now and the rest to be put in towards the budget for next year.
Correct.
That's correct.
Just a question. I believe Debbie said that the Horseshoe Club now has $4,000 to put toward this project.
Yes.
So that would need to. Okay. Also, Darlene, do we know if that's a possibility that half could be done now, half could be done later at the same cost? Debbie, if you can hear me, do you know if we could follow Steve's proposal and half could be done now and half could be done later at the same cost?
And just to throw it out there, I don't think that bid will be the same for the second half, given that, the way pavers are rising in price and everything too. So something to think about as well.
But so her club makes up the difference.
So just a moment. I'm going to put on speaker so
I just say we commit to our amount, her club makes up the difference.
Okay, Debbie.
Debbie, you're online.
Yeah, so it basically, we've really worked with the contractor for a couple months now, working on the bid. And originally it started out like 13,500, 14,000. They want to get to work. They want their crew to be working. So they sharpened it pretty good. We have 3,000, we'll raise 1,000 this year, probably raise another 1,000 next year. But we feel like you're going to pay a lot more for it down the road.
Well, my feeling is we'll commit to the 11,500 and then the Horseshoe Club commits to the, if it goes up. That's the best we can do. How's that?
Not right now. We need to clearly state we're not doing it all right now. We're only doing the half court. I don't know.
Will we be able to maintain that price that he gave us if we only do the half court? That's the question. If he's given us a special deal to do the whole court $2,000 cheaper, what's he going to do if we say we're only going to do half the court?
That's up to the that's up to the club to make up the difference, is my point.
Gotta put it, well, you're right. It would cost us more. That's right. But budgeted for that. It's not budgeted for that.
Dave, can you put up the chats for, there was something in there from Bill from the Finance Committee. I'd like to see that again, please. So Bill says in the chat, Bill from the Finance Committee states, this item meets the 4-point test for being a reserve item. We can use reserve funds even if they're not now, and it is added to the future items as Becca stated.
Yeah, Steve.
Given Bill's comment and Becca's shaking of the head in an affirmative motion, then I would think that we just need to approve this and make it a reserve item and take what we need to take out of reserve and make that a reserve item and not worry about it and get it done now at the cost that's currently available.
That sounds like a reasonable idea to me.
So are you stating we're going back to the original motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
We do need to change it to a reserve item, not
Yes, so
operating.
the motion, can I read the motion to make sure I have it right, please? Okay. Move to approve the proposal from the Horseshoe Club to install pavers at the Horseshoe Courts in the amount of $11,500. The club will pay $3,000 towards the cost. Funds will come from reserve funds.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Second to the revision.
Okay. Yes, Cindy?
Do we have a projection on our reserve spending for this year at this point?
No.
Becca?
Not yet, no. No, we do not. It will not start. I think we moved it out to August. I'm not sure if it's in process or not. I haven't heard anything about it.
I just wondered how we're doing on our asphalt and all that good stuff with what we projected.
Can we amend that to the $4,000 that Debbie has told us that they have instead of the $3,000? We'll take the $1,000 extra. Okay, let's do a roll call vote.
Okay. Roberta Ernest? No. Marilyn Sorensen? Yes. Becca Paulson?
Yes.
Steve Deal,
Yes.
Jennifer Elswick,
Yes.
Cindy Evans.
No.
I can barely hear her.
She said no.
Marie Beshan.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, last one. And I have a proposal here from Colorworks Landscaping for the front entrance.
I move to approve the proposal from the Landscaping Committee for Colorworks Landscape to landscape and design the front entry at the monument and the meeting leading to the guard shack for the amount not to exceed $24,090.80. Funds to come from the asset improvement account.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion. Vicky, are you still on?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I contacted several landscaping companies and Colorworks came out and it was originally to remove the olive trees, do the monument, and that was kind of put on hold for the olive trees. But then I just asked Ryan if he could come out and give us an estimate about the monument. I don't know why I keep calling it that. The monument. So he came out and gave us an estimate of like $7,243 to do the monument landscape without the water feature. With the water feature, added another $5,600. So, and then while we were getting this ready, I was asked to also have him give us an estimate to do the median so that it would all look cohesive and very nice and match the monument landscape and spruce it up. He came back with the dollar amount for that total with the uh, water feature for the 24,000. But just for the median, it was $10,954. The major cost of that has been the landscape materials, because I guess we're switching it over to Jesse Red. Is that correct? Is that
Yes.
the color that's been put in on Trigger and on other areas?
Correct.
So the removal and adding some riprap, I asked him if we could do like a dry stream bed down the middle of the median with big rocks. And he has 10 5-gallon plants in there, plus a mix of desert plants and ground covers. Also, he's going to leave the existing ones there that are in good shape and work around those. As far as the original for the monument, that pretty much just stays the same. And that is just doing the demo groundwork, and I sent some pictures with that. I don't know if y'all received those.
Yes.
He couldn't do any for the medium with such short notice to do the drawing and like he did for the monument. So, any other questions?
Well, you had told me that you have an appointment, or you've been talking to Moon Nurseries about also coming out and
That
doing.
was Jennifer had talked to them. I haven't had.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry. So Jennifer, is Moon Nurseries interested in coming out and doing a proposal?
They are interested in giving a proposal. They will come out and walk the property. This kind of goes back to what Steve said. Perhaps we are cart before horse in that we should get some sort of design before we move forward. I do know that the Landscape Committee has worked very hard on trying to get a proposal for the very entrance, like bell to the guardhouse, because with the new monument, the thought was by all of us to improve that entrance regardless of what was decided for the rest of the resort. So ColorWorks is more of a hardscape does landscape contractor. Moon Nursery is more of a plant landscape person. So ultimately, they could probably work together. That I do support the plan that ColorWorks has put together. It is a desert plan versus green, which means something we've discussed today. It will require much less maintenance as the years go by.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
I think without the water feature, which the landscape committee uh, talked over, and it would be a maintenance nightmare because of our hard water and trying to keep it looking good, running good with the water, that we decided for the almost $6,000 that to do without it. And so then the whole project would come to $8,198, and they could start it. This is approved by September 24th, and they could have it done in a couple weeks and have the whole front entrance looking nice before winter. You know, before the snowbirds return, it would be looking nice and look finished. And then we could call in the landscape architects and have them work from the guard shack back through the whole rest of the resort, including the pool areas and whatnot.
So you're saying without the water feature, that whole design that he's got there, um, in front of the monument and only is $8,000, or in front of the monument and the meridian to the guard shack is $8,000?
The meridian, the median, and the monument landscape total would be $18,198.
18,000. Okay.
And just doing the monument would be $7,243.
It's still not bad, actually. When you think of all the plants and tearing out what's there and the trees and all that kind of stuff and stuff,
Yeah,
that's not
I
that's
thought
actually not a bad price.
I was thinking it was more than reasonable because he's putting in for the median. There's going to be 7 500 to 600 pound boulders, 4 tons of riprap, which
Mhm.
will make it look interesting. Plus there'll be 6 or excuse me, there's going to be where is it? 10 5-gallon plants. Well, 5 gallons, those are pretty good sized plants. Those aren't just little starter plants. Those are going to make an impact. Same,
Yeah.
go, same goes with the front. He's got like two 24-inch box Mediterranean palms, which those
Mhm.
are on each side of the monument.
Mhm.
13 5-gallon lantana, which will give us color all year round out there in front of the
Mhm.
monument. Prickly pear, big size, golden barrels, aloe vera, pipe cactus, octopus agave, and some blue flame agaves. So there's going to be a lot of color up there by the new monument and make it look bright and nice. And I think the whole front will really be an improvement. And then we can go with the landscape architect for the rest of the project. So without the water feature, it's $18,109.06.
Okay.
And he can have it done. He can start the 24th of September and be done in a couple weeks.
Okay. Yes, the monument will have lights,
Yeah,
Debbie.
Yes, it has lights. That's also what's in there. Uh,
Okay. All right.
yeah,
Any other questions or comments from the
yeah,
board?
it'll have spotlights and downlights, including wiring and 120-watt transformer. It'll be all.
Yeah, I'm in agreement without the water fountain. I would like to see water out there, but I agree with our hard water. That would just be a continued added expense and problem for maintenance or landscaping or whoever's taking care of it.
Yeah, we plan on, like, there was little pedestals there that the water was going to sit on. We thought we could get some nice looking pots that would match the monument, and maybe put some evergreen type color in there.
It was a great idea, but ... Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Anybody else have any comments or questions?
I make a
Becca?
comment. I think even though I said we needed an overall plan, if you want to have a real impact, redoing that front will make that impact while we're trying to figure out everything else. I think actually it's a very, very good plan and a good idea. And it's not that much money.
Thank you.
And
Okay.
that's out of asset improvement.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, Maynard.
Yes. Now, shouldn't we, instead of trying to change the uh, the outlook of our community, shouldn't the monument blend in with what we have?
It
Wouldn't it
will.
be cheaper to go that way than changing everything else too? Answer.
Did you understand, Marie?
Well, yes and no. It's the impact that that monument and that corner is what drives people here. It's what is the first thing anybody sees on Bell and Happy Trails Boulevard, and it needs to stand out. It needs to say, "Hello, we're here." And when you drive down Bell Road and you see Sun City and you see all the other ones, they jump out and yell at you. And it needs to jump out and say, "Happy Trails Resort, we're here," not "Happy Trails Resort, drive right on by." So that's my 25 cents. Any other comments or statements? Cindy, you're on mute, darling. Cindy, you're on mute.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Is this part of the pot that we approved previously for improvements? Or is
Yes.
this, so it's
Yes, it
part
is.
of
Yes.
that money? It's not over and above?
Yep.
Okay.
Correct.
No.
Call the question.
Yep. All right. Darlene, you want to do a roll call vote, please?
Okay, first we need to change the motion. Yes,
Yes.
can you please?
Okay, we're going to change the motion to read, I just took put my glasses away, sorry. Move to approve the proposal from Colorworks Landscape and Design to the front entry at Monument and the median leading to the guard shack in the amount of $18,198.06.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, roll call vote. Roberta Ernest, Marilyn Sorensen, Becca Paulson,
Yes.
Steve Deal,
Yes.
Jennifer Elswick,
Yes.
Cindy Evans,
Yes.
and Marie Beschen.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what's part of the motion. Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay. I believe that is all that was on the agenda for the motions. We don't have any variances. It's time for my president's announcements. All right. This is not an easy one. Well, as many of you probably already know, we have lost a valuable employee this last month. Mike Nice was not only our operations manager, but our right-hand man, and to many of us, one of the family. I know he shared with many of you that he appreciated many of you and that his time here, that he has learned a great deal, and that is very true. But what he didn't share, I'm going to, and what we're going to do about it. Ladies and gentlemen, about a year ago, I stood in front of you and told you that we had some issues with some residents treating the staff rudely. And what I asked you at that time was for you to think back about the golden rule and asked you if you remembered that we were all taught that as children. And that I thought that we all heard that, but I guess I was mistaken about that because it wasn't heard and it wasn't followed through with. And instead of it being heard, it was continued and continued worsely. There are approximately 3,500 residents here at Happy Trails, give or take. And out of that, I'd say about 70% of those people who live here or come here are folks that enjoy our amenities. Maybe they come and go and play and swim in the swimming pool, play a little golf, maybe play pickleball, enjoy the neighbors, or just enjoy the sunshine. They don't really participate in our meetings. They don't even know who I am. I meet them at the pool or at the chuck wagon and all the time, and they don't read Facebook. They've been coming here for years and they don't really get involved. If they interact, even if they interact with the staff, it's to ask a simple question, and that's about it. They aren't probably even know any of us by name or the staff by name. Then we have about 10 or 20% who are active. They're the ones who volunteer. They're the ones who are on the board. They're the ones who join the clubs, the committees. They know the staff know them. And they're in and out of the office on a daily or weekly basis, maybe. They say hello. They're friendly. Everybody knows them. And then we have about 5 to 7% who are unhappy. These are the angry people. These are the people who are generally unhappy. And they're the ones who are in the office on a daily or a weekly basis. They're the ones who track Mike and Brad and Sharon in the field, and they yell at them. And they let Darlene and Mike know. They track them in the parking lot when they come in at 6 or 6:30 in the morning. And they bang on Darlene's office because they know she comes in early in the morning, and they bang on her window. Are you in? Are you in? They have their cell phone numbers and they call them at all hours of the night. And I know that for a fact because I got a phone call one night from Mike asking us we could come in at 6 o'clock in the morning because he got phone calls from 11 o'clock at night till 3 o'clock in the morning. Many of these issues and complaints are things that they have nothing to do with operations or management. They're about neighbor disputes or property disputes or Jason disputes of which we have no control about. We're not the police or your parents. We're not in charge of Jason or the golf course. Unfortunately, I am probably speaking right now to mostly the 90% who are shocked by these revelations, as we were. But I ask you to share this with your neighbors and ask your neighbors to share it with their neighbors. Because of this disgusting behavior, we have already lost a valued employee, and we don't want to lose any more. We are now forced to tighten the rules so that we can protect our staff, our neighbors, and the board. We will no longer allow this behavior to continue. The board has adopted a stringent anti-harassment policy, which you heard this morning, clearly defining that it will no longer tolerate any form whatsoever towards the staff, the board, or your neighbors. You will now see reminder signs at every staff location, and the staff has been instructed to no longer tolerate this behavior and to notify the general manager of who, what, and when it's been violated. In addition, the board will no longer allow owners to speak, will only allow, owners to speak on the agenda items, no longer allowing the renters to do that. No other discussions will be allowed. And if anyone gets off topic or starts yelling, etc., they will be asked to leave the meetings. The old saying, a few bad apples spoil the basket, is unfortunately true, and it's here as well. So when you hear people badmouth at Happy Trails or post on Facebook, thank them, because it's because of that and that behavior and those actions, they're the responsible ones who spoiled this basket. I don't want to leave you with that. What I'd like to do is leave you with something good. We have interviewed for Mike's position, and I'm happy to tell you that Brad has accepted that position. And so I'd like you to all welcome Brad as the new operations manager. And with that, I will call Darlene to have her general manager announcements.
After that, I have nothing to say.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Then if Roberta will bang the gavel, we'll call the meeting over.